Oh man, I got deep with this one. Got some backspacer love for Sloth. Sloth and I have like the same exact taste in music. Connor Parent and David Antonio Stam with 2 M's, not to be confused with the David Antonio Stam with 1 M. Okay, this one was a mind flower. So, if you're stone, you're going to play an A bar chord, followed by a C bar chord, followed by an F bar chord, that's A8 and 10 10 10 on D G B, but we want the 5th in the bass, that low C note. And of course, if you're Mike, you're going to be on G14, 12, 14 bend it, 14 regular, 12, 14, and then starts the same. Except you end up on D12. So, or can we just talk about Pearl Jam putting A major and C major together? If you're on the Let's Learn Music Theory thing that we do, you should know that A major and C major don't belong together in any key whatsoever, but Pearl Jam pulls it off time and time again. Some magical how. Okay, yeah, so then the singing starts and Jeff continues along with the same bass line he was doing for the intro, which is A, C, F, and D, which, by the way, is to say that if you're campfiring this, you can play A, C, F, D minor, but no guitars play the D part in this part, right? Anyways, Mike does the thing, which is D and G7, and you go D, 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 G, D, G, D. I have an Aunt Dee Dee, followed by G7 and B8 in the same pattern. And Stone just has the errant every kind of once in a while, whenever you feel like it. That's the B string and the E string 5th fret. Stone. And then when he starts singing Got Some If You Need It, the intro comes back in twice. And here, Stone gets really excited. I love it when you can hear Stone get excited. You do 3 nothing strums, muted strums. Start with, what was that, 4? Maybe it's 4. Whatever. Some amount of muted strums. And then you do on the E string 8, 7, 6, 5. And the 5 is where the... And it's power chords now. So A, 5th fret of the E string. C, 8th fret of the E string. F, 8th fret of the A string. And then the guitars do join in with Jeff for D here, the 5th fret of the A string. So, from the re-emergence of the intro. When this power chord part is happening, Mike is doing something along the lines of, and I watched a bunch of live versions and they were sort of all very similar but just a little different. So here's one good one you could do. You could do, and I like to think of it as just 8 eighth notes, and you can add and subtract or change or whatever you like, but here's one. Open D, 7, 5, 7, that was 4, right? 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 and, for 5, 7, 5, 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the exact same thing again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let's give it open G. It's going to be the same pattern, and G7 and B8, that note from the intro riff, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yep, something like that. You can mess around and do something that you like there too. I mean, I heard one that I thought was him just on the 7 and the 5, like, and then for the second, or the first half of the second half, he was like, and then for the second half of the second half, he was on G7 and D7. I mean, any combination of those notes is pretty cool. This is where I have to admit I know like none of the words to this song, but if you're Mike for the next part, which side are you on? You're gonna be a D power chord on the A string 5th fret, and you're gonna do 5, 4, 3, 1. And now Mike just does syllables where Jeff goes B flat A flat G. Mike just goes. When you do it all fast and you know, ferociously, it sounds great. Right, you almost sort of imply the notes that you want to hear, which is. So you could try to get that done if you want to try to combine Mike and Jeff there. Jike, meth. That's pretty tricky though, so we see why Mike did it this way. So, D. 5, 4, 3, 1. And then to C, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. But while he's doing that, Stone's doing this thing. It's like a little power chord on D12 and G14, and you're going to pluck the high note first. And then slide it down to 8-10. Now there were plenty of places where Stone could have got the next notes done, but he chose to do B and E3. For that little segment, you pluck the low note first, and then you move to B8 and G5 and do high note first again. So. He could have. There would have been an easier way to do it. G7 and B8, and then your G string's just gonna move down 2 frets. But I'm gonna do it Stone's way. But go back for this part. Before Stone gets into the, you hear Stone do this D minor chord, D12. And if you watch the Conan O'Brien live version of this one, you see Stone up here for this whole entire section. So D12, G, B, and E10. And then you can even do the little walks if you want. This is just sort of an educated guess that you can do if you want. But 12, 11, 10, and then our B flat's going to be 15, like a little A shape on D, G, and B. And the walk here would be G15, 14, 12, and then when the band goes to G, Stone's going to play A-shaped G on the 12th fret of those D, G, and B strings, followed by, when the band goes to C, power chord, right? You can make a little D shape on 12 and 13. And I think if you listen to the recording, you will hear an upper register guitar doing something like that, but definitely this one. Here so you can hear it. And the whole thing crashes out and you hear Mike do the no longer but rather, followed by the similarly but rather, right? And Stone does the most hilarious thing ever here. It's you know, the aforementioned D minor chord there, and then add your middle finger on B11, and then it's 12, 12, 12 on G, B, E, which I don't know why. I think that's the funniest thing. That's an E minor chord. I can't explain myself here, but yeah, so. That's so you know where we are, because I don't know any of the words. Yeah, and everything else is something we've done. You get that part where it's the power chords section. But what's different about it is Mike adds the, which normally belongs in the intro section, which is not the power chord section. And then the whole thing ends on the... on a D minor chord. I'm going to do the D minor bar chord. You do whichever B minor, D minor, B minor dar chord that you want. And I'm certain about this Stone section. I just gave it another really good listen. So yeah, I feel good about feel really good about that. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for being here. And now we've got some. Another case where I now like this song 52 times more now that I see just how very much has gone into it. Awesome! Thank you so much! I'll see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.